You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday. Yeah. 27th day of August, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. So that one is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not yet taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us in about an hour, he'll walk you through it step by step. Sign up today. We'll get you indicators indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow. I know we got a weekend coming up and a holiday on Monday, but don't worry, those do not count against your free trial. You'll still get 5 consecutive trading days. So basically, you'll get Thursday. We'll get you indicators indicating today, but your trial will officially begin tomorrow, and then Friday, and basically you'll get all of next week, except the holiday Monday, because we'll be closed, and so will the markets. In fact, we'll be closed because the markets are closed. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There are 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is just click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But you don't have to remember all that. Just youtube.com/CFRN. Now, if you're new to our neck of the woods, it is a great way to get to know who we really are. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our schedule for the afternoon broadcast. Michael will join us about 1 o'clock Eastern for a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning, and then do a little live trading on the TradingView platform. But we'll start where we always do, with our daily devotional. The topic we're on right now, living large in a small world, which is basically a study on the book of Philippians. Today's scripture, Philippians 1, verses 21 through 24. This is Paul writing in his letter to the church at Philippi. For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If I am to go on living in this body, this will mean fruitful labor for me. Yet, what shall I choose? I do not know. I'm torn between the two. I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is better by far. But it is more necessary for you that I remain in the body. Again, Philippians 1:21 through 24. Sensing the weight of eternity. That's what Paul was experiencing at the moment. Paul seemed to think he had a choice. He could go be with Christ or remain in the flesh for the sake of the Philippians and other believers. Being with Christ would be better for obvious reasons. Leaving behind a beaten body and living in heaven is our ultimate fulfillment, the glory that far outweighs our momentary troubles. But we can leverage earthly opportunities for kingdom fruitfulness only while we're here. Paul wrote as though he was choosing between these two desires, even though he had no control over his trial. Was this a statement of faith that whatever he chose to pray for would happen? If so, it's a transforming picture of prayer. God giving his servants a choice in some either or contingency in his purposes. Or was Paul simply picking which option to root for, knowing that it was really out of his hands? Either way, the intersection between God's will and ours isn't nearly so rigidly defined as we might think. Paul's journey was known to God, but still open-ended, at least from an earthly perspective. And either way, it would work out well. We can't have that perspective if we cling to our own agendas. If our goal is to have a nice, convenient, comfortable life, we'll find our circumstances working at cross purposes with that goal much of the time. But if our goal is to glorify Jesus, behold him, serve him, and ultimately be with him, circumstances can't stop us. We'll always have that opportunity in any situation. Circumstances actually serve those purposes one way or another. If you see yourself as a victim of circumstances, tossed around by the waves of an unpredictable life, threatened by contradictions to your dreams and desires, well, you're not alone. You come from a long line of people struggling under the vagaries of human existence. But if you want to come out from under it all, to stand impervious to circumstantial demands, and to become invulnerable even to your own mortality, you can. It's a matter of where you envision the weight of your life. A present weighted life is focused on here and now experiences, which may be important, but are only a small picture of God's purposes for us. An eternity-weighted life is focused on eternal fruitfulness, advancing the kingdom in this age while anticipating its fullness forever. Whichever fills our vision, the present or eternity, will determine how vulnerable we feel. Paul's eternal perspective reoriented his desires, magnified his hopes, minimized his fears, and led him into eternity with confidence. Ours will too. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we declare today that our life is not our own. It belongs to you. To live is Christ, to die is gain. As long as you've got us here, we're not wasting our breath. We're not wasting our days. We're going to bear fruit for the kingdom. Lord, give us the strength to embrace the work you've called us to, even when our heart longs for heaven. Use us to lift others, to serve with joy, and to show this world that Christ is greater than anything we could gain or lose. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen. And happy Wednesday. Hope it's a happy Wednesday for you, whoever you are, wherever you are. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We should probably take a moment here. We'll get to the Wall Street news and all of that, but this is 2 young children were killed and 17 people injured after a mass shooter opened fire at Annunciation Catholic Church and School in Minneapolis this morning. 14 of the total injured are children. 2 of them are in critical condition. The shooter is deceased. Minneapolis's mayor said there are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Heavenly Father, we just pray for the families of all affected, the children, the staff, the other students. It's an incredible tragedy, God, but we place it in your hands. We pray that your peace, which surpasses all understanding, will surround everyone involved in this incident. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Yeah, so I'll take back that Happy Wednesday business. That just popped up on my screen. I don't know what time it took place. It's already afternoon on the East Coast, so probably a few hours ago. At least. All right. Starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. The Dow's up 103 points. NASDAQ's up 22. S&P 500 is up 11. And the Russell 2000 is up 12. Once again, quiet, sideways trade. In fact, the markets are so untradeable. I think Michael had his first blue day in 158 days, 159 days today. He'll go over that with you when he joins us in a bit. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 64 cents, trading 63.89 last. That's a gain of exactly 1%. Gold up $6.40, trading 34.39.50 last. Silver down a nickel, trading 38.55 last. Still hanging on to that $38 mark. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei gained 125 points. Shanghai dropped 68. For the Shanghai, that's 1.75%. The Hang Seng fell 323 points, which is a little over 1.25%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 10, DAX down 106, the CAC up 34. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. But at the moment, it is a green Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Not by a lot, but all green nonetheless. Percentage-wise, the Russell is up almost half of 1%. It's the closest thing we have to a mover and a shaker. And, I mean, the NASDAQ's in the green by 19 points. I mean, a puff of wind could knock that in the red. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens between now and the end of the broadcast. Okay. How did this happen? I don't know, but it did. So hang on a minute, and we'll fix it. That's how we do things around here. We fix them. All right. So that didn't fix it. Guess we'll try again. Well, let's hope this works. Yay, it worked. Okay. That's how it's supposed to work, right? Okay. So, before we were so rudely interrupted, we're going to look at the news. And we shall. Okie doke. Here we go. The Federal Reserve Board, Governor Lisa Cook, said yesterday she's filing a lawsuit to challenge her firing by President Donald Trump. He actually did it. He fired her. And Jerome told her, you need to go. Federal Reserve Act of 1913 says a president can fire a board member for cause. Cook's firing marks the first termination of a governor in the bank's 111-year history. Now, this is going to make a whole lot of wealthy people a whole lot of mad. 50 shades of mad. The repercussions are going to be pretty incredible. The central bank has a unique structure, with the Supreme Court characterizing it as a quasi-private entity. Why is it quasi? Now, I'm not one to question the Supreme Court. It is a privately owned corporation. Period. Cook is one of 7 presidential appointed governors and 5 rotating regional bank presidents who determine monetary policy. In firing Cook, Trump cited allegations that she committed mortgage fraud to reduce monthly payments for 2 homes. Now, I've heard her do a lot of screaming and yelling on television about this issue. But you know what I haven't heard her say? Not one time. It's not true. I did not commit mortgage fraud. I have not heard her say that once. Now, maybe I missed that broadcast. She's played the race card. She's done everything else except say, I'm innocent. I'm not guilty. Well, with the resignation of a Biden-appointed governor earlier this month, Trump could fill a majority of board seats before Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's term ends next year in May. I guess that can't come too soon. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has accused Iran of directing anti-Semitic arson attacks in Australia, prompting the expulsion of Iran's ambassador and 3 diplomats, the nation's first such move since World War II, and the suspension of operations at its embassy in Tehran. The attacks targeted a kosher cafe in Sydney and a synagogue in Melbourne, where 1 person was injured. Authorities say the incidents are part of a broader pattern of anti-Semitic violence under investigation. Officials allege that Iranian operatives linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard concealed Tehran's role by using intermediaries, including organized crime groups. At least 2 people have been charged in connection with the Melbourne attack, and 1 has been arrested in connection with the Sydney attack. Australia's Prime Minister said Australia will move to designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization. Well, that makes sense. Iran's government denied any involvement whatsoever, condemning the allegations as politically motivated. Australia is home to about 120,000 Jews, including one of the largest per capita populations of Holocaust survivors outside of Israel. And of course, all you Swifties know this. Grammy winner Taylor Swift and Super Bowl chairman Travis Kelce announced their engagement yesterday. The couple are credited with bridging two distinct audiences, predominantly female pop fans and male-skewing football enthusiasts. Earlier this month, 1.3 million people tuned in to Swift's 12th studio album reveal on Kelce and his brother's podcast, setting a record for the most concurrent YouTube podcast views. Their relationship has drawn outside attention since it began in 2023. Swift's appearances at the 2023 regular season NFL games correlated with a 7% viewership increase, an average of 17.9 million viewers per game, the highest since 2015. The uptick was partly driven by a record 9% rise in female viewers. The 2024 Super Bowl featuring Kelce drew a then record 123.7 million viewers, boosted by a 24% surge in women aged 18 to 24. Analysts estimate that Swift and Kelce's relationship has generated roughly $1 billion in publicity for the NFL. And and I still don't know what the big deal is. But hey, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. At least one White House official said Wednesday that Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook should go on leave until the mortgage fraud accusations that resulted in President Trump seeking to remove her from the Fed's Board of Governors are resolved. If it were me and I had made the mistakes of the accused, I would either deny it because it was not true, or I would go on leave until people resolve it. Now that comes from Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council. The fact that she's not doing that now suggests that she's being partisan, taking a partisan stance, which is contrary to the evidence. When asked whether Cook should be presumed innocent, considering she hasn't been found guilty, or just take leave, Hassett said, if I were in her circumstances, I would take leave. Well, obviously, if she was innocent, she would say I'm innocent and take leave. In the interim, the Fed has deferred a decision on Cook's status in view of pending legal action. In other words, Cook still works for the Fed and has access to emails. Whether she goes into the building or not is an open question. Cook said Monday in a statement she will not resign and will continue to carry out her duties to help the American economy. Wow, you've been doing a swell job, Lisa. Keep it up. President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law and he has no authority to do so. Cook's lawyer said the president attempts to fire her based solely on a referral letter lacks any factual or legal basis. A referral letter? She lied on a mortgage application. I love the way these attorneys can twist and turn anything. Incredible. Stocks inched higher today as investors counted down to NVIDIA's highly anticipated earnings report, seen as a pivotal test for the tech-driven summer rally. Today, after the bell, NVIDIA reports. Investor hopes for the world's most valuable company are sky high, with the AI chip giant expected to post record high revenue and adjusted profit for the second quarter. But investors are watching for the fallout from President Trump's curbs on China chip sales, which NVIDIA forecasts will deliver an $8 billion hit to its quarterly bottom line. More widely, the big tech bellwether's earnings are a big test for the broader AI trade that has driven the bull market in stocks. Traders are pricing in a swing of roughly 6%, or about $260 billion in NVIDIA shares after the report comes out today. And NVIDIA is just barely in the red today, down less than a point. Thinking about going to Cracker Barrel now that you've heard so much about it? God, they got so much free publicity out of this. It's incredible. Cracker Barrel is back up 8% today after President Trump told them that they should go back to their old logo and their old way of doing business. And they said, yeah, you're right. How can one man be right about everything? I don't know. In a client note published Wednesday, Citi's John Tower said the late August hubbub over the brand could actually benefit the business in the near term. While the lasting impact on the business is unclear, this late August hubbub has drawn attention. Growing attention does not always translate into consistent visits, nor solve the brand's longer-term issues around relevancy to younger consumers, but could spark curiosity and visits near-term as consumers determine what all the ballyhoo was all about. So, yeah, people who never even heard of Cracker Barrel, or maybe you've driven on the freeway and you've seen the sign sticking up, and maybe you wondered, what's a Cracker Barrel? I'm not hungry for crackers. Crackers aren't the main thing on the menu, by the way, but you can get grits. So, I think this analyst has it correct. A lot of people who've never been to Cracker Barrel are going to go. Some of them are going to like it, and they're going to come back. And they're going to become loyal customers. The European Union said today that it will seek to fast-track removal of all tariffs on U.S. industrial goods by the end of the week, days after the U.S. and the EU established a written framework for the trade deal agreed to last month. President Trump requested that tariffs be removed before the U.S. lowers its duties on the bloc's auto exports. The latest move by the EU follows Trump's warning on Monday that he could impose new tariffs and export limits on advanced technology and semiconductors in response to digital service taxes in other countries that he says unfairly target U.S. tech firms. Promises made, promises kept. And as if we hadn't heard enough about American Eagle Outfitters, thanks to Sydney Sweeney, the company has now nabbed Travis Kelce as its newest face. American Eagle True Colors, Kelce's brand, released a collaboration with the jeans maker, including t-shirts and sweatshirts, branded with the Kansas City Chiefs star label, as well as sweatpants and trousers. It's amazing how much attention two people can get. One can play football, one can sing. Okay, the world goes on. ByteDance, you might have heard of them. The owner of a little app called TikTok is set to launch a new employee share buyback that will value the Chinese technology giant at more than $330 billion, driven by continued revenue growth, according to three people with knowledge of the matter. The company plans to offer current employees $200.41 per share in the repurchase program, according to the people with knowledge of the matter. Up 5.5% from $189.90 it offered them about 6 months ago, which valued ByteDance at roughly $315 billion. The buyback is expected to be launched this fall. The latest buyback at a higher valuation will come as ByteDance consolidates its position as the world's largest social media company by revenue, with its second quarter revenue up 25% year on year. That jump resulted in the company's second quarter revenue hitting about $48 billion, most of which is from the Chinese market as it continues to face political pressure to divest its U.S. arm. What do you know? And how does NVIDIA make money? Since they're going to report earnings today. As the world's leading chip maker, NVIDIA stands as one of the biggest winners of the artificial intelligence revolution. In 2024, the company gained $2 trillion in market value as enterprises around the globe demand more data center capacity to support their growing need for high-performance computing. The stampede has intensified in 2025. But even rainmakers have vulnerabilities. Earlier this year, NVIDIA lost nearly $600 billion in market value in one day, the largest single one-day drop for a U.S. company ever, after a Chinese startup unveiled its DeepSeek AI model, which it claims requires far fewer chips than past models. The news sparked panic among investors who worried demand for NVIDIA's chips would tank. And as part of President Trump's broad-reaching tariff regime, the company agreed to pay 15% of its revenues from Chinese AI chip sales to the U.S. government. Still, NVIDIA's gravity-defying growth keeps investors coming back for more. The company's revenue model is a good place to start to understand how the chip maker gained its dominant position. We'll go into more of that tomorrow. Let's let them report their earnings, and then we'll talk about a little history behind the company. All right. Logic 247. What a quiet week. One of the quietest weeks in a long time. This morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, Valerie did this recap, which hasn't changed for 2 days. No, I think it did change. Yeah. We've issued 14 alerts since the markets opened Sunday night. Normally, by the middle of the week, we would have issued 25 to 35. We're still waiting on the outcome of 5. So that gave Valerie 9 actionable alerts to work with. And so far, nothing's been stopped out. There just haven't been a lot of good opportunities. And that was mirrored this morning in the live training room with, again, Michael having his first blue day in 158 days, I think it was. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target, additional targets usually, and then a final trade to target. The logic alerts are designed to help you learn how to read a chart. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Now, over the last 369 weeks, we've issued over 20,250 individual handcrafted alerts. I think we're up to almost 20,300. What we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Last week, I posted this in here somewhere. Here it is. Last week, week 368, we issued a total of 55 alerts, 9 never triggered. So we had 46 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 9% would have been stopped out. Again, based on just simple market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So when I don't see the opportunity, I don't put out the alert. I don't do it for entertainment. I do it to help you learn how to read a chart. So it makes no sense to put something out that's not going to help you, right? Right. Okay. Now, 369 weeks, that's a little over 7 years. But long before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. They're different. Number one, they don't come out around the clock. They're published as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open. So today's the Wednesday session, of course, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So all of our traders and trial members had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. Not that it mattered in a lot of cases, because the market has just been flat and sideways. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude, NQ, gold, and silver. Okay, so let's go look at the chart and just see exactly what happened. Here's where we start every day with the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. We put in a new all-time historic high here. This Friday will make 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 65.0875. And from that all-time historic high, we pulled all the way back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not, as you can see here, 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 here. And when we're in a downtrend, same thing. Pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. It stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. But it has to do more than just close above or close below. It needs a following day where it also opens and closes below, as it did here, or here where the following day it opened and closed above. Okay, that's the confirmation. And that didn't happen here. We spiked the BBC all the way down to the 50% fib extension, and then bounced all the way up to that new all-time historic high. Last Friday, it looked like we were headed to put in a new all-time historic high, and it looks like today we're trying again. Now, Friday's high was 96 and a quarter. Today's high is 95 and a half so far. But look at the daily candle. It's a little tiny doji. Of course, that can change between now and the close. In fact, I think a lot of folks are just kind of sitting tight until those NVIDIA earnings come out today. Now, NVIDIA reports after the bell. So it'll be about 4:05 Eastern that the numbers come out. Stocks stop trading at 4 p.m. Eastern. Futures continue trading until 5 p.m. Eastern. Typically, the last hour of futures trading is pretty quiet. Today, I suspect it will be anything but. Okay? So, if you trade that final hour, be careful and be very much aware. Let the earnings come out. Let the market react. Don't trade the reaction to the report. Trade the reaction to the reaction. That's where the money is. Okay, all alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. The vertical line separates today, Wednesday, from Tuesday, from Monday. These horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. They're published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We had very wide ranges this week, which technically tells us that we're going to have some huge movement. But here it is Wednesday, and it hasn't materialized yet. This was Friday, where Jerome said he might lower interest rates or look at the policy in a different way. But now he's probably all mad because Lisa Cook got fired. So, yeah, I wouldn't count on it. When it happens, I'll believe it. These weekly trading zones, okay? When price drops to a zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. And here we are sideways. These are the CTAs that I showed you were published 5 minutes ahead of the open last night. And what's price done? Just gone sideways. The low of the day, 72 and a quarter. High of the day, 95 half. Now, back in the day, that would be a pretty decent day for the S&P. But over the last few years, things have changed. So, I suspect we'll just continue this sideways trade until the NVIDIA earnings come out. And then what will happen? Okay, futures traders will be able to react up until 5 p.m. Eastern. Stock traders in the U.S., there are some people trade after hours, so there'll be some movement. There are some stocks that are available to be traded after hours. But the real reaction will come tonight when the Asian markets open, tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. Eastern when the European markets open, and then the big move will happen tomorrow morning when the Wall Street market opens. See, all of these stock sessions around the globe are limited. That's why we like futures, because they trade around the clock. It's one of the reasons. So anyway, here's where we opened last night. Right there. And look where we are. What do we opened at, come on. We opened at 86 3/4. Now we're at 92.5. So, yeah, we ran down here. And yeah, we ran up here. But we're basically right just about where we opened last night. The Dow opened right here. Now, again, the zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. We've published the zones every Monday for the last 15.5 years. So we opened, we dropped to the weekly zone, caught a little bounce, dropped back to the zone. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Now, this zone is 450/455. The low here was 460, and the low here was 447. So we actually overshot it just a tad. And then we bounced. This is the Wall Street Open right here. Okay. Just quiet and sideways all night. At 9:30, we get a pop up to the CTA long target based off this high right here. The next spot you would expect resistance is here. And then right here. But so far, the long target has been resistance, 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 resistance. And we're taking another run at it. So if we can break this high, just remember you got another high waiting right here. That's potential resistance. So that's not a lot of room to work with. I'd be careful. Period. The Russell. Here's where we opened last night. We did get below the BBC, but not by much. This little crevice right here. Here's that low. We made a run at the long target. Couldn't get there. Looking left, no visible signs of resistance. That's been the story all week. That's why there's so few CTAs this week. That's why Michael had a blue day today. And once we take out this high, there's nothing in the way of us getting up to the long target. Right there where blue turned to red, that's the long target. But the market can't seem to get out of its own way. That's the biggest problem. Last night's open, blue and climbing overhead, turns it red and falling, takes us down to the BBC, where we consolidate. We get a little bounce. Right back up to this area, right here. And then we attempt to get to the short target. Almost made it. What did we get to? The low was 23,487. 23,487 half. So we missed it by about 10 points, which for the NQ isn't very much. And we're just, again, as you can see, just kind of aimlessly wandering sideways. No real rhythm, no real direction. Crude oil, a little different story. Here was the open last night. We ran up to the weekly trading zone overhead, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. Support will send the market looking for resistance, back to support. So we had all this wide-ranging consolidation at the zone. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the time the slice. So after all this consolidation, we got a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and then we hit the long target and the zone here. And then we took out this zone, we spiked it, came all the way back down, basically to this high. And now we're straddling this zone right here. Now we've already been up to 64.15 this week. In fact, remember today's Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Yesterday was a sell-off. Today we've recovered about 50% of that drop. Yeah, right there. We almost got it. Must have by a tick or two. Okay, Michael's here. So we have hit the we hit the short target on gold. We hit the long target on gold. But we'll talk more about that when I come back. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Do a little live trading on the TradingView platform. I'll come back, finish the recap, and wrap things up with our good word for today.
All right.
Hey,
Look good on your end.
Hang on. Yes, everything looks great.
Okay. All right. Here we go then. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 27th day of August, 2025. So this is the last Wednesday of August. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go to mytradingiq.com, click on this purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button and it's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all we ask for is your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number. Fill out this form down here at the bottom, gives you TradingView login ID. Right? If you don't have one of those yet, click on this right here and go get one. All right. You can sign up for 30 days free. TradingView, the essential, any level you can sign up for free for 30 days. But the essential level will get you 2 charts at once. That's really all you need to start out with. And once you get that, if you go here to mytradingiq.com, you go to trade rules. Once we've enabled it for you, this one right here is for the essential users. Right? If you click on that, it's going to be a chart with everything on it. Everything's already on it. Maybe I need to fix it a little bit, but everything's already on. Let me fix it right now while we're talking, I guess. Because what you want to have on here is the YBR. Well, I'll just leave it for now. But you want to have the YBR on there, the YBR background color. But everything's on. You're going to have to hit the word copy in the upper right-hand corner, and then you have everything that you need to get working in the morning. Right? Once we've enabled everything for you. Oops. Now, just hit leave on that. So that's what you need to do when you take the trial. All right? From the registration page, click on that, get your platform, get it going, and then just get your indicators indicating on your chart. All right. Today, for the first time this year, we have a blue day. We were minus $295 a contract this morning. We did get the goal for the day after 10 minutes and 2 trades. Definitely one of those days when you want to quit when you got the goal for the day, but almost all of it was right here on the NQ. We're minus 80 ticks on the NQ. And if you do the math on that, minus 80 times 5 is 95. That's not right. 80 times 5 is $400. So that was pretty much it right there. We stopped out a few times here on the NQ today, and we ended up negative on the day. I didn't have enough time to get back to positive. I was thinking during the break I would have enough time to get back to positive, but that doesn't count in the spreadsheet. So we had our first blue day today, so this becomes a 0 right here. Right? We did go 158 consecutive trading days for me since the last blue day. It was in December, but it is what it is. Today we're minus 80 on the NQ, plus 24 on the Russell, plus 11 on gold, and minus 10 on the ES, put us at minus 295. We did get our goal for the day after 10 minutes and 2 trades. We're up $1,000 with 10 contracts on, and then we took another 18 trades, and we had quite a bit of stop out on it. That put us at 10,207 on the month, over 15 trading days, averaging $680 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now that's our average for the month, daily. I remember back in the day, if you had a $600 day, it was amazing. And now it's our average, and that's the low average. On the year now, we're at 183,302 over 145 trading days, averaging $1,264 per contract for a 2-hour trading day, following the 24/20 blueprint. You still would have only had to work 19.66 hours so far this year. You'd be up $104,392. This went up. This, I think, went down a little bit because it took us 10 minutes to only get to the goal for the day. But the average rate is $5,308. Yeah, $5,308 per hour. Okay, so that is what we did this morning. Now let me bring up the question box in case anybody has any questions. Type them into the question box if you do have any. I want to see who all is here this morning. Okay. All right, so let's get into the trades that we did take or didn't take. Now, on the gold, we didn't have many trades at all, really. On the gold, we had 2. This one here was a plus 10. That's where we got the goal for the day, I think. And then this one right here, we got 1 more. That got us to 11. We just didn't have a lot of opportunities today. And you can see right here, all the way through here, there was no trade opportunities. All the way through here, there were no more trade opportunities. There were just those 2 that we took this morning. There were no other opportunities at all. So during the break, it looks like this right here would have been a trade opportunity during the break. Right here would have been one. Nope, that would not have been one. That would not have been one. We had just 1 trade opportunity during the break, and it would have been a winning trade, a successful trade. Okay. The Russell, we ended up with the plus 24 on the Russell. And these are all the Russell trades. Again, not a lot of opportunity this morning. You can fit the whole day in one screen. On most of these charts, you can fit the whole day in one screen. Not on the NQ, but on the Russell, the first trade was a plus 10. Next trade was a plus 12 to 22. Next trade was a plus 1 to 23. And the next trade was another plus 1 to 24. Then we had break even over here. And that was it. 5 trades on the Russell. During the break, see, I said before the break we should get up to here, and we did. And then it stopped exactly right there. It turned down. During the break, there was 1 trade right here. Right, that was a valid trade. 1 trade right here. That might not have been valid. If that didn't get into the oversold, and it didn't, then this wouldn't have been a valid trade. This needed to get into the oversold right here, but it didn't. This would have been a valid trade, and that would have stopped out. And that was it. So oddly, we just did not have a lot of opportunity today. On the Russell, we ended up with plus 24. On the ES, this is our whole day on the ES. Right? We had a break even right there, a minus 10, and a break even. That put us at minus 10 on the ES. And that's the whole day. This wasn't a valid trade right there. I think I took every trade that was available on the ES. I did. So we just didn't have the opportunity this morning. During the break, this was a valid trade here on the yes, that would have worked out okay. And that was the only one. Only one trade during the break that would have worked out okay. And then the NQ. Right. Now I want to point out on the NQ right here on the 19 range, we had a hard time. If you went to the larger time frame, the 47 range, there was only one trade this morning right here, and it was a successful trade. The other time frames didn't. I mean, the 47 range didn't give any other trades in here. Right, there are no other trades in here on the 47 range throughout the whole day. There are no other trades. But when you break it down to the 19 range, we had troubles with the MQ today. This one you cannot do all on one screen. And here we are. Our first trade on the NQ that we took was right here. And on that trade, we picked up 8 ticks. Then on the next trade, we had to break even and we had to stop out. And I knew I said, oh, I'm not worried about it. We have a lot of time left. And I stopped out and we're at minus 17 then. Then I stopped out again. And we're at minus 42. Then, see, this stop out was pretty much to the tick. This stop out, it went down, but not enough to get to break even. So that was a valid stop out. But we're at 42 with that one. And this one here was another one to the tick. That put us at minus 67. Then I picked up something there to get us to minus 39. Then I stopped out again to minus 84 and had a break even. Then I picked up a little bit there to get us to minus 80. And we had a couple of break even trades going into the end of the session. And that was it. We took, I think, pretty much every trade we had available to us on the NQ. It just, we didn't give it up this morning. So today was a blue day. Now, during the break, in the red, you're looking for stuff to close. Now you're in the green and you're looking for flat spots. And you're in the red, you're looking for flat spots. Right here would have been the first trade. That would have been okay. It would have just about stopped you out, but it would have worked out and given you a pretty good trade right there. And this one right here. So you had 2 trades during the break that both would have worked out okay. But that's how it's been. That is how it's been today. It is what it is. You know, I tried to get back. I was hoping during the break that between 11:30 and 12, there's going to be enough opportunity to get back to positive, but it just wasn't, as you can see. Right now, this 600 level right here that we keep hitting, it seems to be, price seems to be attracted to that level. If I were to throw one of these on right here, right exactly at the 600, pretty much at the 600, you can see price is having trouble with that level. It's attracted to it and it's sticking to it. So I think there's no high impact news today, only medium impact. And the news that we did have, it was crude inventories. I'm not sure how they came out, but it didn't really matter. It was pretty close to what was expected. And tomorrow we have some high impact stuff. Initial jobless claims tomorrow. And then on Friday, we have more high impact stuff in the pre-market. Okay, but that is how the day is gone. And then there's a long trade right here on the NQ. This is a long trade right here, right now. And we're right here at that 600 level again. Okay, let me minimize this. And here it is right here. All right, starting to work its way up. We need to get 10 ticks in profit. I don't think we've gotten enough yet to bump the stop to break even. Just make sure. It does say on top, 2.25. We need to get up to 2.5 to bump the stop to break even. So it has not gone enough to get the stop to break even yet. Okay. So the takeaway from all this is that the markets have been complicated to trade today, more than normal. And if you were to quit when you get your goal for the day, well, today would be a fantastic day to do that. Right? It needs to get up to 2.5 right there. See the big numbers up here. This is where I think it wants to go up to, up here. Let's go one more tick. don't think it made it yet, right? 225. It should make it up to at least the swing high, which is at 612. Actually, this is the 612 one over here. It should make it up to this swing high, which is 605, and that'd be plenty to get the stop to break even. But it hasn't done it yet. Choppy. And the ES, we need to pull back on the ES and then get a push up. On the NQ, we're in chop right here, it seems. We need to break out of it on the top side. Okay. You see what I mean about it sticking right here at the 600 level. That's right on 600, but it's pretty close. 23,600 is what I mean. Got to go up to 2.5. Need to bump that stop. Okay, just follow the rules. I know the rules haven't, they got me the goal for the day early on. But since then on the NQ, they haven't worked out all that well just because we haven't had that many opportunities. On a day like today, you could switch to a different time frame. You would get either fewer or more opportunities. But on the NQ, going lower than 19 is just dangerous on the NQ. I know I did get a report from some other guys that were on much larger time frames that they did really well today. Not many trades, but they did well. Seems to almost up to 2.5. There it is. Now I can go to break even. All right, stop to break even on this. All right, I'm going to lock in a point. And see where it goes. It should get up to 612. Now the target, the 45 tick target is all the way up there at 1125. So I'm just going to let this thing run itself out. The swing high, the immediate swing high is right here at 5.5. I'm looking 8 ticks. 5.5. It might find resistance there and push down. And push down enough to take me out with 8. But I'd still be looking for it to get all the way up here to 612. All right. The ES is pushed up. It hasn't put in a higher swing yet. The Russell's almost good at trade here. Just needs to tap the midpoint and give us an up close, and the Russell will have a trade. Okay. I just thought of something. Two things. All right, so all right. Well, does anybody have any questions about anything? Anybody? Right. It's possible we could have another trade here. We got 8 ticks on the first one. It's possible we could set up another one right here. If you get a down close here, we'll be at the midpoint, and we'll have to have the next bar to pull out of the oversold. I'm not going to have anything here. We could have something here on the Russell. We're not going to have anything over here on the gold. Okay. The leg lengths are too long to be using the aggressive trading in here. We could probably use it here right now. You could go long right now on the NQ using the aggressive trading. I think. I'm not sure. No, you can't. Sorry, you can't. You need the up close. Sorry. Using the aggressive trading. The NQ is a little choppy. That's why you might be able to do it there. But But it turns out you can't actually. On the Russell, we have a low here of 75.6. You'd be buying 76.6 on that. Okay. All right, we have the potential for a trade here on the Russell. That's the only one, really. See the midpoint shifted on this, so you're not going to have a trade over here. You see that 600 level again. Price is just sticking to it. It's going to have some reason to break away from that. This guy barking, Fed guy barking is speaking later. Barking. Huh, that's what it's going to be barking. Barking. What did it say about him? It doesn't. Let's go to a different one where we may give a little more information.
Lisa Cook, Fed governor, got fired.
Yeah, I saw that. She's going to sue. She's going to sue the.
Yeah, she's going to sue.
Try to get her job back.
You know, it's all her ranting and raving and playing the race card. I've yet to hear her say, "I'm not guilty."
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I missed that, but
yeah, smoke screen. Yeah. I mean,
you would think that in this, just like Trump, you know, the whole time he was lawfared, he kept saying, "I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't do this," and well, now he's the president.
yeah.
So her silence is basically an admission of guilt, as far as I can see.
Seems like, I mean, she's making a whole bunch of noise. None of it's I'm innocent.
Yeah, none of it is I didn't do this, because it's a matter of public record. Anybody in this listening audience can go to the 2 counties where she owns those 2 homes and go to the county recorder's office. It's a matter of public record. It's not like it's some government secret or anything.
I don't know what they're thinking. Well, I mean, it's greed, really. Either trying to make a buck or save a buck. I don't know which one, but all right. So we got the up close here on the Russell. And we are just in complete chop right here. There is really nothing you can trade. I mean, even the Russell's in chop right here. Yeah. The place to trade the Russell would have been the open of this bar right here. Being aggressive would have been the open of that bar right there. Right? But being conservative, it's the open of this bar right here. Right. Here it is. And we really don't have another opportunity right now. I'm hoping this stuff clears up by the afternoon. Next hour or so. Time will tell. 76.6 right now. It needs to get up to 77.1. 77.1. Get stopped to break even. Right, we did manage to pull off 8 ticks on the NQ trade that we took. And it just doesn't have anything else right now. It looks like it's going to drop down and hit the YBR and flip the YBR down. The ES is not showing anything weakness or strength. The Russell's not really either. You know, this trade right here, it was actually above the midpoint when I took it. And I was mildly concerned about that being above the midpoint. I should have waited for a pullback and taken on the pullback. But, well, it is what it is. We have about 8.5 minutes left, and we'll see if we get out of this Russell trade. We can manage to get a stop to break even or anything. We just flipped YBR over here on the NQ. Now, the Russell has been kind of leading the pack today, doing like almost completely opposite things. There was one point where the ES was going into the low of the day and the Russell was going into the high of the day. That was early on. It was still there. The gold could be an aggressive long trade here, possibly. I don't think it's kind of now, but a minute ago it was looking like it could be an aggressive long trade. We'll see what happens. Right. I looked at the 19 on the 31 range earlier and doing the same stuff that we always do on the 31 range. I'm going to slide this off to the side. I'll just stick it way over here for right now. Keep an eye on it. But trading this morning on the 31 range. Now, I know you don't know to switch time frames until you see that the current time frame isn't working. And I ran out of time this morning. But the 31 range, if we were just doing the conservative trades, means I get rid of the ultimate slingshot. All right, I'm going to keep my eye on this. But if we're just doing the conservative trades in here, where you're in the red, you have to cross the midpoint. There weren't a ton of trades in here. There's one right here that looks like it would have been enough to get the stop to break even, probably right there on that. It might have stopped you out to the tick before doing it again. You hadn't stopped to break even. This is going to get to 0.1 to go. Then you had one trade right here that would have worked out okay on the long side. You had another trade right here that would have worked out okay. You had is probably the wrong word. You need to get up one more tick over here. There it is. So we can go to break even on this now. That's better. There was one trade right here that would have given some profit. This was not a valid trade, so none of these other ones matter until it doesn't matter at all. None of those mattered. So there were several times where you could have gotten some profit or break even in there. And that was it on a larger time frame. That's on the NQ. The 19 range just wasn't working out very well this morning. Normally, the more opportunities you get, the better off you are. But today just wasn't that way. Okay. So the Russell, if we minimize this, we'll go see what the Russell is actually doing. See, it's struggling up here to get to 77.5. That's the swing high. The next level above that is 78.7. So 78.7 is up there. The high of the day is right here. Looks like that's what it's struggling with right here. But you see, we're right back to that 600 level on the NQ. We break up above here, 77.4, 77.5. It should probably go up here pretty quickly, I would think, to the high of the day. Okay, I'm going to lock in 5 ticks on this now. Okay, we did break up above there just by 1 tick. We actually closed up above there by 1 tick. So we'll see what happens with that on the Russell. So now we have a successful Russell trade and a successful NQ trade in this session so far. No reason to change what we do. It's just, today was one of those days where it's just a little more complicated. Plus 10 ticks on the Russell. And the Russell was one of our better markets today, as it was. Now on the day, we're up 34 ticks now on the Russell. Yeah, remember, this is what it's trying to get up to, this swing high right here. Is where it's trying to go to. Okay, we could possibly have a trade here on the NQ on the down close. It's got a high there at 150, and the midpoint is at 97. 150 down to 97. Yeah, that would work. 150 down to 650. 97. Yeah, that would work. That would work. That'd be okay. If you get the down close here to 6.5, that'd be okay on the NQ. Not the prettiest trade you'd want. The ES actually just gave a trade here too. I didn't notice. You can still get into that if you want to. And we're out with the 10 on the Russell. The ES trade was the up close right here off the midpoint. The NQ just gave it short. The ES is showing long, but the Russell just had a long. The NQ is showing short and the ES was showing long. So it's such a mixed bag. If you want to skip the NQ trade, that certainly makes sense. 19 range hasn't been the most reliable today. Nowhere near what it usually is. I said on the 47 range, there was only one trade all day. And it's still looking that way on the 47 range. I'm in the ES. I didn't do the NQ. I'm in the ES. Now we need 10 ticks to get to 0 on the ES on the morning session. Okay. And it is 126. So we have that trade there. We don't know what it's going to be yet. We have this trade right here. We just took some profit on. And we had the NQ trade a little while ago. This guy right in here. Over here somewhere. This one right here. We took some profit on it. And now we have the ES trade. Here, bring it back over for you. That's going to get up to 93.25. And so far it's only had a high of 93. And we need another up close. And there it is. Not up close, I mean, one more tick up. Okay, so now we have, I'm unlocking one tick on this because we're just about out of time here. And now I can make this blue instead of yellow because we're going to have one tick. So we had 3 trades and all 3 of them were profitable. So far. Well, that's not going to change. Ticks. That's $250 right now. And we're out with 2. All right, so we had one profitable trade there, one profitable trade there, and one profitable trade there. And the NQ is stuck at that 23,600 level. I don't know what it's going to take to get away from that, but hopefully it loosens up here. All right, so let me tell you, if you have not taken a free trial, then go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button, and this is what I want to see. Click on the purple button, and it will bring you to this page right here, the registration page. Just fill it out. Make sure you give us your TradingView login ID down here at the bottom. Okay, once you do that, we will be able to get your indicators indicating on your charts for you, right? And that is where you want to be when you take the trial. Now, I just want to go out here and look at one more thing. Okay, so the all-time high is right here. We're above yesterday's high already, and the most recent high was last week, and that was 96.25. Okay, so the high today so far is 95.5. I think once we break that 96.25, we'll probably start headed up to the all-time high today or tomorrow. I think we should probably hit that. Right, tomorrow or Friday, not today or tomorrow. Tomorrow or Friday, I think we'll probably hit that. Could be overnight tonight.
NVIDIA reports earnings
After the close or before the open?
After the close today.
Oh, okay.
So the last hours, the last hour of futures trading today will probably be very active. But the Asia session, Asian traders won't be able to trade those earnings until the Asian markets opens around 8 p.m. Eastern, and then London traders won't have a chance to get their hands on it until 3 a.m. Eastern. And then the majority of U.S. traders won't be able to do anything with it until tomorrow morning. So we should see a pretty volatile overnight session. They're expecting a 280. How big was that swing they were expecting? Hang on. Let's see, I got it right here. Thought I did.
You see the Russell's just below the high of the day right here. Actually, just put in a new high of the day. And
maybe that news was over here. Is that it?
I don't know about that.
No. Anyway, they're expecting, it's like $280 billion, a 6% swing one way or the other was the number they gave it. I read that article earlier. Oh, here we go. I guess this is it. Is it going to load? Maybe, maybe not. No, it's, oh, there it goes, finally. Gee. Let's see. The waiting game is on for NVIDIA's quarterly results. Slated to arrive after the bell, so it'll be about 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Traders are pricing in a swing of roughly 6%, or about $260 billion. That's based on options. So,
interesting.
$260 billion swing in market cap, one way or the other.
That should make for an interesting evening of trading.
Yeah, I would think so. And it'll carry over into tomorrow morning.
The European markets and all that.
Yep.
I'm guessing we're going to see all-time highs by tomorrow morning.
I would not be surprised. Okay.
This worked out perfectly the way that it came together, though. I mean, I mentioned this yesterday. I think maybe even earlier today, the way it came together. You had that move up. This is perfect 50% retracement of that move up. This move up. This is perfect 50% retracement. You can see the midpoint is right there.
Yep.
Of that move. So I extended this yesterday. So this is where it should go up to, right here. Once it breaks through the all-time highs, it should go up to 65.50 is what I'm thinking. And then we'll get a pullback on that. And this, from the bigger picture, is what it should go up to, 66.73. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I imagine by the end of September, we'll see it up there.
And keep in mind that the last two times we put in a new all-time historic high, the market's closed substantially lower both days.
Yeah.
As sometimes happens. Not always. So
this one right here closed all the way down there. This one right here closed all the way down there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens today. I think eventually by the end of September, we're going to hit this level up here, but then you're looking at a retracement all the way back down to here, to this area. So back down to that 6,500 area. That's what it's looking like. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Trade what's in front of you. All right, so with that,
I'll grab it.
back up.
Okay.
Fabulous. Phoenix, Arizona. It's situated overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. I guess I didn't say that part yet. That's why I still have.
Okie doke. Here we go. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 10 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,000.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. We made it all the way up to gold. We made it through everything else. Gold, one of the rare markets, because everything was so flat overnight. This is where we opened. Blue and climbing overhead, becoming red and falling. That's resistance. It took us down to this area right here, where buying came in at a spot I honestly would not have expected. And there's been a series of that all week. I mean, yesterday we did go from zone to zone. but it's the lack of follow through. Okay, this move under normal market conditions would have continued down right to this area here, but it didn't. Buyers came in early, drove us up to the BBC, the pullback held. Resistance always sends us to support. When red and falling gets directly below price, that becomes potential support. Support sends us back to resistance at the BBC, pullback held. And then on this move, we actually hit the short target. Looks like pretty much to the tick. Let's see. The low was 22.2, so we missed it by 2 ticks. We got a leg and a retracement, and then a leg that carried us all the way up to the long target. Now we've been consolidating there for an hour. There's only 7 minutes in the life of this candle so far. If the step line crosses blue and climbing, expect a retracement back to the BBC. And if we got a quick drop, that would be support times 2, because the 30-minute BBC is lined right up with the weekly trading zone. And then last over, here's where we opened last night. This high failed to take out this high. This high was 39.24. This high was 39.24. So I guess let's measure that again. It's an optical illusion of sorts. This high, 39.25. Okay. So now it's playing games. 39.25. That's what I thought. This one didn't take it out. 39.24. So that's a sign of weakness, and that's what weakness looks like. Price consolidates at the zone as it does 70% of the time. And then we get a leg and a retracement and a leg that takes us to the short target, which is right here where red turned to blue. We consolidated there for a couple hours, and we took a deeper drop, put in basically a double bottom here. We bounced off the BBC, retracement, pullback held. Now we took out this low by just a little bit. This low, 38.67.5. 38.67. Why does it do that? I don't have my glasses on straight. 38.67.5. Look at that. 38.68.5. That is bizarre. 38. Now it says 67.5 again. All right, we're going to call it a double bottom. Fair enough? Okay. So from there, we made a run at the long target. Now this high is basically this high right here. Let's torture ourselves some more. 39.25, which we already did. 39.25. This was 39.24. So we actually hit this high from yesterday, and so far we haven't been able to break through it. If we continue to consolidate sideways, the step line will cross blue and climbing, and we'll get a retracement back to the BBC. Pullback holds more often than not, whether it's pulling up from below or pulling down from above. Here's one last look at the daily chart. As Michael mentioned, we got a high on the day of 95.5. Friday's high was 96 and a quarter. So we're a few ticks from taking out Friday's high. And then the all-time historic high right here, 6508.75. Okay, to become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Tell Valerie you want to become a member. She'll send you an email with a link that you can click to make your payment, become a passport holder. Once you do that, she'll send you all kinds of information. A lot of it, you won't even know what to do with it. I'll tell you. Create a folder in your email client and just put those emails in that folder. As time progresses, this is no get-rich-quick scheme. This is learning how to trade. This is a valuable life skill that once you learn, no one can ever take away from you. Okay? So, hold on to those emails. Put them in that folder so you know where they are. And then, as each day goes by and you're in the live training room and you learn more and more, stuff in those emails will start to make sense. You'll understand their purpose and reason and all of that. As a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live interactive training every trading day. You also get, on top of that, now that's 2 hours a day. Those are real trades in real markets with real money. You also get private one-on-one mentoring. All you have to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. Now, no one knows what's going to happen next in the market. Not man, not machine, not algorithm, not AI, not nothing, not no way, not no how. But once you learn how to read a chart, you can know with a great degree of certainty what the next high probability move is. We've proven that over the last 20,000, almost 300 individual handcrafted alerts, where we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure. And a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. This is why it's imperative that you learn to read the chart, okay? The Logic 247 alerts are created exactly for that purpose. As a passport holder, you also get concierge trade alerts. The second they're published each evening, which is typically 5 minutes before the Globex Open. So tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, that will be the beginning of the Thursday night session. Now, NVIDIA's reporting, and I'll see how much ruckus it kicks up during the final hour of trading, but most likely I'll still go ahead and put the CTAs out 5 minutes ahead of the open. We may have some gaps or not. With the indices, with futures, gaps are pretty rare except in earnings season and on Sunday night, because the market's actually been closed. See, with stocks, you have gaps every day. Stocks gap up, stocks gap down. Because since Wall Street closed the previous day, Asian traders have been trading those stocks overnight. European traders have been trading those stocks overnight. So when Wall Street opens, boom, there's a gap based on what those traders did overnight. But futures is different because futures trade around the clock. It's just one of the reasons we like futures. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. And every Thursday afternoon, you'll be invited to the Members Only Workshop Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll be given the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. We've got public channels for the folks on the trial so they can talk with our traders and get the alerts and get the weekly zones. Because for 5 days when you're on the trial, we treat you just like you are already a member. We give you access to everything except the Members Only Workshop Thursday night. But other than that, you have access to it all. For 5 consecutive trading days, no credit card required. We want you to focus on what's being taught. We want your mind to be in learning mode, not worry mode. Because at the end of the 5-day trial, we want you to be able to make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Just send your email to support@cfrn.net and say, Valerie, I'm ready. She'll take good care of you. Okay, good word for the day. The importance of exercise. I know nobody wants to hear that, right? But it is important. 1 Corinthians 9:27. I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. Physical exercise strengthens your immune system so that you can fight off heart disease, cancer, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, thyroid malfunction, impaired memory, and a host of maladies. The best kind of exercise is the one you like and is the most convenient. Here are the 2 biggest reasons we're inconsistent in following an exercise program. First, we lose interest in it because we don't get much satisfaction out of it. Second, it demands too much time or effort. Whether you go for a fast-moving walk or attend a high-energy fitness class, almost any physical activity will relax and re-energize your body. Exercise at least 30 minutes a day, a minimum of 5 days a week. And the Apostle Paul gives us the key to success in one word: discipline. I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:27. Additionally, physical activity can help you to reduce stress, lose weight, keep it off, and just feel better about yourself. If you can't find time for an official workout, try gradually growing the activity into your lifestyle. Park farther away from the shop so you have to take more steps to get there. Walk up the stairs instead of riding the elevator. Simple things. As a redeemed child of God, here's an all-important reason for staying physically fit. 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. Or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you? Therefore, glorify God in your body. A prayer for everyone. Father, help me to do some sort of physical activity regularly. And that's a good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.